cousin, can you shake and turn pale and stop speaking suddenly and then begin again and then stop again, as if you were driven crazy from terror?
Of course. I can imitate the best of tragic actors. I can speak and then look back and search all around me, trembling, and jump at the least movement as if I were paranoid. Frightened looks and forced smiles are at both my service, ready to perform their functions whenever I need them. But where did Catsby go?
He has, but see, here he comes, with the mayor.
Lord Mayor,
Look out! The drawbridge!
listen, a drum.
Catsby, look out over the walls for us.
Lord Mayor, the reason we sent,
Look behind you! Defend yourself! There are enemies here!
may God in our innocence defend and protect us.
Calm yourself. These are friends, Ratcliffe and Lavelle.
Here is the head of the traitor, Hastings.
I love the man so dearly that I must weep. I took him to be the most honest, harmless Christian that ever walked the earth. I made him like my diary and trusted him with all my soul's most secret thoughts. He covered his wickedness with a virtuous facade so well that if his guilt hadn't become apparent, I mean his affair with Shore's wife, I never would have suspected him.
Well, well, he was the most secretive hidden traitor that ever lived. Can you imagine? Lord Mayor, if we weren't lucky enough to stop him, that sneaky traitor was plotting to murder me and the Lord of Gloucester in the council room today.
Is that really so? What do you think?
We're heathens or savages?
I hope only good things happen to you from now on. He deserved to die for what he'd done. And you are smart and courageous for making an example of him with warning to the other traitors to not make the same choice.
I never expected him to treat me any better after he sent Mr. Short. But we had not decided that he should die until your lordship arrived to the witness of his end. However, now these friends of ours, in his eagerness and love, have done something that goes against our intentions. They have deceived us, pretending something different. Because, my lord, I would if you heard this traitor speak and fearfully confess how and why he kills, that you might have signified the same to his citizens, who might misinterpret us and cry over his death.
But my lord, you are just as trustworthy as if I were there to have seen and heard him speak. And do not worry about the citizens. My noble princes, I will tell them of how fairly you have dealt with the matter.
That is why we wanted you here, your lordship, to avoid the condemnation of the critical public.
But since you came too late to see the execution as we intended, at least know our good intentions. Goodbye, my good Lord Mayor.
Go after him, Cousin Buckingham. He's riding quickly to the town hall. There, at the most advantaged moment, bring up the possibility that King Edward's children are illegitimate. Tell the public how Edward executed a citizen just for saying that he would make his son heir to the crown, when he was only talking about the tavern he owned, the crown. And then bring up Edward's hateful lust and his insatiable appetite for women, which stretched even to the citizen servants, daughters, and wives. Anyone that his lustful eye and savage heart wanted to prey on. If you need to, you can even bring me up. Tell them that when my mother became pregnant with that insatiable Edward, my noble father, York, was away fighting wars in France. If you calculate the time of Edward's birth, and consider the fact that he looks nothing like my father, then it's clear that he's not my father's true son. But only vaguely touch on that subject. For as you know, my lord, my mother is still alive.
Don't worry, my lord. I'll speak as persuasively as if I were trying to win the throne for myself. So, goodbye, my lord.
If things go well, bring the citizens to my estate at Baynard's Castle. There you'll find me accompanied by priests and bishops.
I'll go now. At around 3 or 4, you should expect the news from the town hall.
Lavelle, go as quickly as you can to the mayor's brother, Dr. Shaw. And you go to Friar Penker and tell them both to meet me within the hour at Baynard's Castle. Now I'll go and make some secret arrangement to keep Clarence's brats out of sight, and I'll give orders that no one is to see King Edward's sons.
This is the accusation of Lord Hastings. It has been beautifully and neatly written considering all laws, so that in St. Paul's Cathedral it can be read in front of everyone. It's ironic how things have played out. Last night, Catesby brought me this accusation, and it took me 11 hours to rewrite it in the correct format. But within 5 hours, Lord Hastings walks free and alive? It is wild to think about the world that we live in. How can no one see this trickery? And no one has the guts to say anything against it? This world is cruel. And when it comes to a harsh end, his terribleness won't be able to be talked about at all.
Come, cousin, canst thou quake and change thy color, murder thy breath in middle of a word, and then again begin, and stop again, as if thou were distraught and mad with terror?
Tut, I can counterfeit the deep Tradigan, speak and look back, and try on every side, tremble and start wagging of a straw. Intending deep suspicion, ghastly looks are at my service, like enforced smiles, and both are ready in their offices, at any time to grace my Stradigans. But what, is Catesby gone?
He is, and see, he brings the mayor along.
Lord Mayor,
Look to the drawbridge there.
hark, a drum.
Catesby, o'erlook the walls.
Lord Mayor, the reason we have sent,
Look back, defend thee. Here are our enemies.
God in our innocency, defend and guard us.
Be patient, they are friends, Ratcliffe and Lovell.
Here is the head of the ignoble traitor, the dangerous and unsuspected Hastings.
So dear I loved the man that I must weep. I took him for the plainest harmless creature that breathed upon the earth a Christian, made him my book, wherein my soul recorded the history of all her secret thoughts. So smooth he daubed his vice with show of virtue, that his apparent open guilt omitted. I mean his conversation with Shore's wife. He lived from all attainer of suspects.
Well, well, he was the covertest, sheltered traitor that ever lived. Would you imagine, or almost believe, were it not that by great preservation we live to tell it, that subtle traitor this day had plotted in the council house to murder me and my good lord of Gloucester?
Had he done so?
What? Think you we are Turks or infidels? Or that we would, against the form of law, proceed thus rashly in the villain's death? But that the extreme peril of the case, the peace of England, and our person's safety enforced us to this execution?
Now fair befall you, he deserved his death, and your good graces both have well proceeded to warn false traitors from the like attempts.
I never looked for better at his hands, after he once fell in the mistress Shore. Yet had we not determined he should die, until your lordship came to see his end. Which now the loving haste of these our friends, something against our meetings have perverted. Because, my lord, I would have had you heard the traitor speak, and timorously confess the manner and the purpose of his treasons, that you might have well signified the same unto the citizens who happily may misconstruct us in him and wail his death.
But my good lord, your grace's words shall serve as well as that I'd seen and heard him speak. And do not doubt, right noble princes both, but all acquaint our duteous citizens with all your just proceedings in this case.
And to that end, we wished your lordship here, to avoid the censures of the carping world.
Which since you come too late of our intent, yet witness what you here we did intend. And so, my good Lord Mayor, we bid farewell.
Go after cousin Buckingham. The mayor towards Guildhall hies him in all post. There at your meetest vantage of the time, infer the bastardy of Edward's children. Tell them how Edward put to death a citizen only for saying he would make his son. heir to the crown, meaning indeed his house, which by the sign thereof was termed so. Moreover, urge his hateful luxury and bestial appetite and change of lust, which stretched unto their servants' daughters' wives, even where his raging eye or savage heart, without control, lusted to make a prey. Nay, for a need thus far come near my person, tell them when that my mother went with child of that insensate Edward Noble York, my princely father, then had wars in France, and by true computation of the time found that the issue was not his begot, which well appeared in his lineaments, being nothing like the noble duke my father, yet touch this sparingly as 'twere far off, because my lord, you know my mother lives.
Doubt not, my lord, I'll pay the order, as if the golden fee for which I plead were for myself. And so, my lord, adieu.
If you thrive well, bring them to Baynard's Castle, where you shall find me well accompanied with reverend fathers and well-learned bishops.
I go, and towards 3 or 4 o'clock look for the news that the Guildhall affords.
Go, Lavelle, with all speed to Dr. Shaw. Go thou to Friar Penker. Bid them both meet me within this hour at Baynard's Castle. Now will I go to take some privy order, to draw the brats of Clarence out of sight, and to give order that no man or person have any time recourse unto the princess.
Here is the indictment of the good Lord Hastings, which in a set hand fairly is engrossed, that it may be today read o'er in Paul's. And how, mark well, the sequel hangs together. 11 hours I have spent to write it over, for yesterday by Catesby it was sent me. The precedent was full as a long a-doing, and yet within these 5 hours Hastings lived, untamed, unexamined, free, at liberty. He's a good world the while, who is so gross that cannot see this palpable device, yet who so bold but says he see it not? Bad is the world, and all will come to naught, when such ill dealing must be seen in thought.